Natia Seskuria, an associate fellow at the defense and security think tank, the Royal United Services Institute. Natia, thank you so much for your time. I heard one analysis a few days ago, and the question was again about the feeling amongst the people in Russia regarding what's happening in Ukraine. And the analysis was that while the Kremlin controls the state propaganda machine, the real feelings of the people will never really be known. Is it possible to tell from these protests about what the larger feeling might be across Russia?
Thank you very much for having me. I think it's definitely difficult to have a good understanding on what's happening in Russia, inside Russia, because obviously the state propaganda does its best to somehow sell lies, not only to the Russian citizens, but also to the outer world. But at the same time, we know that the operation of the Western media channels are very limited within Russia. So it is difficult to understand what is happening in Russia. And of course, the major aspect of this is the fear among the Russian citizens. But at the same time, I think yesterday's decision is a major shift in terms of how Putin is waging this war against Ukraine. And from now on, the mobilization is bringing the war closer to the ordinary Russian citizens. So that's why I think what we see now, the protests, is a good indication that at least Russians are unhappy with this decision, because not because they care much about, unfortunately, about the war atrocities that Russian regime, Putin's regime, is committing, but at least because of the fact that now this war directly concerns to them and to their families.
Natia, Sanna Marin, the Finnish Prime Minister, has said in the past hour and a half or so that it might be time for her country to start considering stopping all tourism from Russia and even stopping Russian citizens using Finland as a transit route. When Russians hear news like that, does it not make them feel that Vladimir Putin, when he talks to them about how the West is waging a war against Russia and wants to destroy Russia, does it not make them feel that Vladimir Putin might have a point?
Yes, there is, to a certain extent, I think this gives an advantage to the Russian propaganda, because they have been claiming that the Western intention is to destroy Russia. And in this case, they are using Ukraine to do that. And they have been trying to portray this war, not a war between Russia and Ukraine, for example, but between the West and Russia. And they have been trying to portray Russia as a victim rather than an aggressor. But at the same time, I think the Finnish Prime Minister has a point, and she is right in indicating that there needs to be further measures to control this inflow of Russian citizens into Europe, because especially Finland has been used as a transit route to enter the Eurozone and then to go further into the Schengen countries. And as we know, there is a flight ban in action, but that has not disturbed Russians to cross into the country and enter the European Union countries. I think no matter what, no matter whether the European countries will reenact the visa ban or not, Russian propaganda will definitely claim that this is a war against Russia, that the West has been waging in order to destroy the Russian statehood. But at the same time, I think now is the moment where the fear of death is the main reason for protesting. And I think at least there is an understanding that Putin is trying to, at least the Russians are trying to start to understand that Putin is using its citizens as a tool, and he does not care about the lives of Russians.
Natia Seskuria, thank you so much indeed for the analysis, Natia. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.